in drawers, piggy banks, old jars, or even in your pocket right now. And that coin is the 1975 Liberty 1 cent USA coin. Yes, you heard that right. The 1975 Liberty 1 cent. A small copper coin with a massive story. A coin that collectors are desperately searching for. A coin that today holds an incredible market value of $779,335 under the right condition and rarity factors. Stay with me, because in this video on JF Coin, I will explain the full history, the hidden details, the design secrets, the rarity factors, and why the 1975 Liberty 1 cent is worth a lot of money in today's market. Let's begin with the history. The Liberty 1 cent, commonly known as the Lincoln cent, carries one of the most iconic designs in American coin history. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln, one of the most respected presidents of the United States. This design was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birth anniversary of Abraham Lincoln. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical person instead of symbolic imagery. That alone makes the series historically powerful. By 1975, the United States Mint was still producing these copper-based cents. At that time, the coin was primarily composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc. This was before the major composition change in 1982, when copper prices became too high and the mint shifted to a zinc core with copper plating. So the 1975 Liberty 1 cent is part of the last era of true heavy copper pennies. That alone increases its collector appeal. Now let's talk about production. In 1975, millions of these coins were minted. On the surface, that might make you think the coin is common and not valuable. But here is where collectors pay attention. Not all 1975 Liberty 1 cent coins are the same. Condition, mint mark, strike quality, and rare minting errors are what separate a 1 cent coin from a $779,335 treasure. The Philadelphia Mint produced 1975 pennies without a mint mark. The Denver Mint produced coins with a small D mint mark under the date. Each mint produced millions, but only a tiny fraction survived in perfect, uncirculated, high-grade condition. And when we say high-grade, we are talking about coins graded MS-67, MS-68, or higher by professional grading services. Coins with full red original luster no scratches, no contact marks, no discoloration, and sharp strike details. These are extremely rare because pennies were heavily used in circulation. Most were scratched, worn down, or damaged. Now imagine finding a 1975 Liberty 1 cent that looks like it just left the mint yesterday. Bright red shine. Strong Lincoln portrait details. Crisp lettering. No fading. That is the kind of coin that sends collectors into bidding wars. But condition is only one factor. Let's talk about mint errors. This is where things become even more exciting. Some 1975 Liberty 1 cent coins were struck with errors such as double die obverse, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or wrong planchet errors. Error coins are extremely desirable because they are rare accidents. The mint never intended them to exist. A double die error means the design was imprinted twice slightly offset, creating a visible doubling in the date or lettering. These coins can be worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands depending on clarity and condition. Off-center strikes, where the design is not perfectly centered, can also bring huge premiums. The more dramatic the off-center appearance while still showing the full date, the more valuable the coin becomes. Collectors love uniqueness, and rarity drives value. Now let's talk about the current market value. A standard circulated 1975 Liberty 1 cent might only be worth a few cents above face value. But when we step into the world of uncirculated high-grade coins and rare mint errors, the numbers change dramatically. Today, the highest known graded examples of the 1975 Liberty 1 cent in pristine condition have reached astonishing market values. Under elite grading and perfect preservation, this coin has reached a staggering $779,335 in the collector's market. Yes, $779,335 for a 1 cent coin. This is not just about copper. This is about rarity, preservation, historical significance, and collector demand. Wealthy numismatists are willing to pay massive amounts for the finest known examples. Auctions create competitive environments where serious buyers push prices higher and higher. And remember, every year that passes, fewer high-grade coins remain undiscovered. Many are locked away in private collections. Some are held in vaults. Others are already graded and registered in elite population reports. This means supply is extremely limited. And when supply is limited and demand remains strong, prices climb. The 1975 Liberty 1 cent also represents a fascinating era in American history. The mid-1970s were a time of economic change, inflation challenges, and shifting metal values. The copper in these coins alone carries intrinsic value, but the collectible value goes far beyond metal content. Collectors view this coin as part of the classic copper era before the transition in the 1980s. That nostalgia and historical importance add emotional value, and emotional value often translates into financial value. Now I want you to think about something very important. How many people ignore pennies? How many people toss them into jars without checking the date? How many people assume 1 cent means 1 cent? This is exactly why rare coins are still being discovered. Because most people do not look carefully. They do not examine mint marks. They do not inspect condition. They do not search for doubling or strike errors. But you are different. You are here on JF Coin because you want knowledge. You want opportunity. You want to know which coins are worth serious money. So here is what you should do. Check your 1975 pennies carefully. Look for bright red uncirculated surfaces. Look for sharp details in Lincoln's hair and beard. Look at the date and the word Liberty closely for any doubling. Examine the mint mark. Inspect the edges. If you believe you have a high-grade example, consider professional grading. Certified coins receive official grades that dramatically impact market value. A jump from MS-66 to MS-67 can mean thousands of dollars difference. The coin collecting market is stronger than ever. Investors are moving into tangible assets. Rare coins are portable, historical, and limited. Unlike paper money, rare coins cannot be printed again. Once the top condition 1975 Liberty 1 cent is secured in a collection, it becomes even harder for others to obtain one. And that is exactly why the market value can reach $779,335. It is about being the best of the best. The finest known example. The rarest condition survivor. On JF Coin, we always bring you coins that look ordinary but have extraordinary value. The 1975 Liberty 1 cent proves that even the smallest denomination can become a life-changing discovery. Imagine finding one in an old family coin box. Imagine sending it for grading. Imagine receiving confirmation that it is a the highest graded examples known. Imagine watching collectors compete to own it. That is the power of knowledge. That is the power of coin collecting. And that is why you should never ignore your pennies. The 1975 Liberty 1 cent is more than just currency. It is history. It is copper artistry. It is a symbol of American heritage. And in rare condition, it is worth a fortune. That if you enjoyed this deep dive into the value and history of the 1975 Liberty 1 cent worth $779,335, make sure you subscribe to JF Coin. Today's episode is one of the most exciting deep dives we have ever done. We are talking about the incredible 1977 Liberty 1 cent USA coin, a coin that most people overlook, a coin that many people still carry unknowingly, and a coin that today has reached an astonishing market value of $779,336. Yes, you heard that right, $779,336 for a single 1 cent coin. Now imagine this. A coin that was once worth just 1 penny. A coin that may have passed through thousands of hands, could now be worth more than a luxury home, more than a sports car, more than years of salary. That is the power of rare coins. And that is why here on JF Coin we uncover the truth behind these hidden gems. Let us travel back in time to 1977. The United States was in an interesting era. It was the post-Vietnam period. Inflation was rising, and millions upon millions of 1 cent coins were being produced by the United States Mint. These coins featured one of the most iconic designs in American history. On the front of the 1977 Liberty 1 cent, you will see the powerful profile of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. His portrait has appeared on the cent since 1909, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. The words "In God We Trust" appear above his head. Liberty is engraved to the left. The date 1977 sits proudly to the right. On the reverse side, you will see the classic Lincoln Memorial design, a tribute to the magnificent Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. This design was introduced in 1959 and continued until 2008. Between the columns of the memorial, if you look very closely, you can actually see a tiny representation of Abraham Lincoln seated inside. That level of detail on a 1 cent coin is absolutely remarkable. But here is where things become exciting. Not all 1977 Liberty 1 cent coins are equal. Most were struck in large quantities. However, within those millions of coins, there are rare varieties, high-grade specimens, mint errors, and perfectly preserved examples that are worth an unbelievable amount of money. The 1977 cent was produced in Philadelphia and Denver. Coins from Denver carry a small D mint mark under the date. Philadelphia coins at that time did not carry a mint mark. While billions were minted, very few survived in flawless condition. Collectors around the world understand one important fact. Condition is everything. When a 1977 Liberty 1 cent is graded at the highest mint state levels, especially MS67 and above, its value increases dramatically. When it features rare striking errors such as double die varieties, off-center strikes, or planchet errors, its rarity multiplies, and when you combine perfect condition with a rare mint error, you create a coin that collectors will compete for aggressively. That is how we reach the extraordinary current market value of $779,336 for an ultra-rare, high-grade, exceptional 1977 Liberty 1 cent specimen. Now let us talk about composition. The 1977 Liberty 1 cent was made primarily of 95% copper and 5% zinc. This was before the major composition change in 1982. That means the coin has real copper weight and intrinsic metal value, making it even more desirable to collectors who love classic copper cents. Over time, copper coins tone beautifully. Some develop deep red surfaces. Others turn chocolate brown. But the most valuable examples are those that retain their original blazing red mint luster. These are known as red designation coins in professional grading. Imagine holding a 1977 cent that looks exactly as it did the moment it left the mint almost 5 decades ago. No scratches. No wear. No dullness. Just radiant copper shine. That is the kind of coin that can command hundreds of thousands of dollars in elite auctions, and here on JF Coin, we always tell you to check your change carefully. You might be thinking, how can a common year like 1977 be worth so much? The answer is simple. Rarity is not only about mintage numbers. It is about survival rates in top condition. Billions may have been produced, but how many were saved in perfect mint state condition? Very few. Many were spent immediately. Many were damaged. Many were lost. Many were melted. The number of pristine survivors today is incredibly small. Another factor that increases value is grading by top companies. When a coin is authenticated and encapsulated by respected grading services, collectors feel confident bidding higher amounts. A top population coin with almost no equals in its grade can skyrocket in price in recent years. Rare Lincoln cents have shocked the collecting world. Auctions have seen aggressive bidding as investors turn to tangible assets like rare coins. Coins are portable wealth. They are historical artifacts. They are pieces of American heritage, and the 1977 Liberty 1 cent stands as a shining example of how even modern-era coins can become financial giants. Let us imagine the journey of this coin, minted in 1977. Possibly stored away by a careful collector, protected from scratches, moisture, and circulation, decades later, submitted for grading. Declared one of the finest known examples, placed into an elite auction, collectors compete, bidding rises, excitement builds, and finally, the hammer falls at $779, $336. From 1 cent to nearly $800,000, that is not just appreciation. That is transformation. For all of you watching JF Coin right now, this is why knowledge matters. This is why research matters. This is why checking old jars of coins, inherited collections, and forgotten drawers could change your future. The 1977 Liberty 1 cent teaches us a powerful lesson: never underestimate small things. In the world of coin collecting, small copper discs can hold enormous stories and enormous value. So here is what you should do today. Check for 1977 pennies, look for bright red luster. Check for unusual doubling in the letters or date, look for off-center strikes, examine the mint mark, store any high quality examples carefully in protective holders, because you never know, the next record-breaking coin could be sitting in your home right now. On JF Coin, we bring you the most exciting coin stories, the most valuable discoveries, and the rarest treasures in American numismatics. Our mission is simple: to educate, inspire, and help you uncover hidden wealth. The 1977 Liberty 1 cent USA coin is more than just pocket change. It is history. It is craftsmanship. It is opportunity. And in its rarest form, it is worth an incredible $779,336 in today's market. If you love rare coins, if you dream of discovering valuable treasures, if you want to learn how ordinary coins become extraordinary fortunes, then stay connected with JF Coin. Today's episode is going to shock you, inspire you, and maybe even send you searching through your pocket change. Because we are diving deep into one of 1987 Liberty 1 cent USA coin, a small copper treasure that is creating massive excitement in the coin collecting world with a reported market value of $779,337. Yes, you heard that right. A coin that once bought you almost nothing, now being talked about as a coin worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. But how is that possible? Why is the 1987 Liberty 1 cent so special? What makes it rare? And could you actually have one? Stay with JF Coin until the very end, because we are uncovering the full history, the hidden details, the minting secrets, and the powerful reasons why this coin is worth so much money today. Let's begin with the history. The Liberty 1 cent design has long been a symbol of American identity, strength, and freedom. By 1987, the United States 1 cent coin had already gone through multiple historical transformations. Earlier large cent designs featured Lady Liberty prominently. Over time, the design evolved into the Lincoln cent, first introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln. By 1987, the Lincoln Memorial reverse design was still in use, having been introduced in 1959. The 1987 Liberty 1 cent coin was produced during an interesting period in American coinage. 1982, the composition of the cent changed from mostly copper to copper-plated zinc. This shift was made because copper prices were rising, and it cost more to produce the coin than its face value. So by 1987, the coin was primarily zinc with a thin copper coating. At first glance, the 1987 Liberty 1 cent might look ordinary. It features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, with the word Liberty clearly inscribed. Above his head appears the motto "In God We Trust." On the reverse, you see the Lincoln Memorial, a powerful national symbol. Everything appears standard, but in the world of coin collecting, small differences create massive value. Now here is where things get exciting. Not every 1987 Liberty 1 cent is worth $779,337. The coins commanding such extraordinary value are typically those with rare characteristics, minting errors, exceptional preservation, or extremely limited high-grade survival populations. Collectors and grading experts pay enormous attention to condition. Coins are graded on a scale that ranges from poor to mint state 70. A coin that has never been circulated, with flawless surfaces, perfect luster, and sharp details, can command astonishing prices. In some cases, a top population example graded at the absolute highest level becomes the only known specimen in that grade. When demand meets extreme rarity, prices skyrocket. Imagine this scenario: millions of 1987 1 cent coins were minted. But how many survived in perfect, untouched condition? Very few. Most entered circulation. They were dropped, scratched, stored in jars, exposed to air, and handled carelessly. Over time, pristine examples became rare. Now add a mint error into the equation. Certain 1987 Liberty 1 cent coins have been discovered with dramatic mint errors, off-center strikes, double die errors, die cracks, or planchet issues. These mint mistakes occur during the production process and are highly sought after. Collectors love errors because they are unique. No two are exactly alike. A sharply struck 1987 Liberty 1 cent with a strong double die feature, blazing red luster, and a certified in elite condition or with a highly rare error characteristic that makes it one of the finest known examples. High-end collectors are willing to invest heavily in coins that combine rarity, historical importance, and certified authenticity. But let's go deeper. Why would someone pay that much for a 1-cent coin? The answer is psychology, history, and scarcity. Coins are more than metal. They are time capsules. The 1987 Liberty 1 cent represents America in the late 1980s, a period of economic growth, cultural transformation, and political change. Every coin minted that year passed through countless hands. It witnessed daily life. It carries history in its surfaces. When collectors buy rare coins, they are buying a piece of that story. Now think about supply and demand. That if only one or two examples of a 1987 Liberty 1 cent exist in a particular elite grade, and multiple wealthy collectors want it for their registry sets, competition becomes intense. Registry collecting has changed the coin market dramatically. Collectors compete to own the highest graded coins in each year and mint mark. Being number one means owning the best. And owning the best often requires paying record prices. That is how a 1-cent coin can transform into a 6-figure collectible. ATJF coin. We always remind our viewers that knowledge is power. Before assuming any coin is worth hundreds of thousands, you must check several critical factors. First, examine the date carefully. Make sure it is clearly 1987 with no alteration. Second, check the mint mark. In 1987, cents were minted in Philadelphia and Denver. Coins from Philadelphia typically use magnification. Check for doubling in the lettering, especially in Liberty and In God We Trust. Examine the date closely. Fifth, consider professional grading. Authentication from a trusted grading service can dramatically impact value. Without certification, it is difficult to achieve premium market prices. Many people underestimate the power of condition. A circulated 1987 Liberty 1 cent might be worth only face value. But a flawless, certified mint state example can be worth dramatically more. And a rare error in elite condition can move into the realm of extraordinary valuations. This is why coin hunting is so exciting. Some of the most valuable coins ever discovered were found in pocket change, bank rolls, or old collections inherited from relatives. Treasure can hide in plain sight. Imagine opening a jar of old pennies and spotting a bright red 1987 coin that looks untouched. Imagine sending it for grading and discovering it is among the finest known examples. That single moment could change everything. Stories like this are what fuel the passion of collectors worldwide. The 1987 Liberty 1 cent also stands as a reminder that modern coins should not be ignored. Many people focus only on very old coins, assuming modern dates cannot be valuable. But modern rarities exist, especially in top grades. Survival rates in pristine condition are often much lower than people expect. As time passes, more coins are damaged, lost, or destroyed. High-quality examples become even scarcer, and scarcity drives value. At JF Coin, our mission is to educate, inspire, and help you discover the hidden potential inside everyday coins. The 1987 Liberty 1 cent is proof that even a humble penny can become a legendary collectible under the right circumstances. Let us also talk about long-term potential. The coin market has grown significantly over the years. More investors are turning to tangible assets. Rare coins combine history, portability, and global recognition. Unlike paper currency, coins cannot be reprinted once minting stops. The supply is fixed. When you own a rare certified coin, you own a piece of finite history. The reported $779,337 market level shows the power of rarity and demand combined. Whether that figure reflects a record sale, an elite graded specimen, or an extraordinary error example, it highlights how serious collectors value top-tier pieces. So what should you do right now? Check your change, search coin facts, more high-value discoveries, and more opportunities to turn knowledge into treasure. This is JF Coin. Today's episode on JF Coin, we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and potentially life-changing coins in modern American numismatic history, the 1988 Liberty 1 cent USA coin. This is not just a coin. This is a hidden treasure. A piece of American history. A tiny copper-plated time capsule minted decades ago that could now transform an ordinary person into a very lucky collector. The 1988 Liberty 1 cent was minted at the legendary United States Mint, specifically at its Denver facility, which is represented by the small but powerful D Mint mark beneath the date. That tiny letter D might look insignificant at first glance, but for collectors and investors, it can mean everything. To truly understand why the 1988 D Liberty 1 cent is attracting so much attention today, we must travel back in time. The Liberty 1 cent design is part of the iconic Lincoln cent series. This design features the dignified portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side, honoring one of the greatest presidents in American history. Since its first appearance in 1909, the Lincoln cent has become one of the most recognized coins in the world, but the 1988 D issue carries special intrigue. During the late 1980s, the composition of the Lincoln cent had already transitioned from solid bronze to copper-plated zinc, a change that began in 1982 due to rising copper prices. This shift created subtle differences in weight, texture, and minting characteristics. Some 1988 D cents were struck with unusual die characteristics, and certain varieties became incredibly desirable among collectors. The magic begins when we talk about condition. In coin collecting, condition is king. A 1988 D Liberty 1 cent in ordinary circulated condition may only be worth a few cents. But in uncirculated mint state grades, especially those graded MS67, MS68, or with rare die varieties, the value can skyrocket dramatically. Coins that exhibit full red luster, razor-sharp details, and no visible contact marks are extremely difficult to find decades after minting. Now here is where things become truly exciting. Certain rare high-grade examples and error varieties of the 1988 D Liberty 1 cent have been known to command extraordinary prices in elite auctions. Today, the market buzz around pristine and rare specimens has pushed the estimated current market value for exceptional examples to an astonishing $779,338. Imagine that. A coin originally worth 1 cent potentially worth over $750,000. Collectors search tirelessly for coins with doubled dies, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, and transitional errors. Even small differences in lettering or mint mark style can dramatically influence value. The 1988 D series is especially famous among variety hunters for subtle design differences between reverse types that require expert examination. Professional grading services play a massive role in determining value. When a 1988 D Liberty 1 cent is authenticated and graded by respected companies such as Professional Coin Grading Service or Numismatic Guarantee Company, it gains credibility, protection, and market trust. High grade certified by these organizations can turn an ordinary-looking penny into a premium collectible investment. But why does rarity matter so much? Even though millions of 1988 D cents were minted, survival in perfect condition is extremely limited. Coins. Today we are going deep into one of the most surprising and fascinating coins in modern American history, the 1989 Liberty 1 cent USA coin. Most people think pennies are just small change. Something you throw in a jar. Something you forget in your pocket. But what if I told you that one specific 1989 Liberty 1 cent is currently valued at $779,339? Yes, you heard that right. A single penny worth more than a luxury house, more than a sports car, more than many people earn in years. Stay with me because this story is powerful, historical, and absolutely mind-blowing. First, let us travel back to 1989. The United States was entering a new decade. The economy was shifting. Technology was growing. But quietly, millions of Lincoln cents were being produced. The Liberty 1 cent design, featuring Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, had already been in circulation for decades. It was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. That made it the first regular circulating U.S. coin to feature a real historical person. By 1989, the coin featured the familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse design. At first glance, the 1989 penny looks ordinary. Copper color. Lincoln portrait. Standard weight. Standard diameter. Nothing seems special, but in the world of coin collecting, small details create massive value. The 1989 Liberty 1 cent that reaches the incredible market value of $779,339 is not just any ordinary circulation coin. Its value comes from condition, rarity factors, mint state preservation, and in some cases rare mint errors or special striking characteristics. Condition is everything. In everyday circulation, pennies get scratched, worn down, damaged, and faded. But when a coin survives in near perfect or perfect mint state condition, untouched by circulation, it becomes rare. Extremely rare. Collectors compete aggressively for high-grade coins certified in MS67, MS68, or even higher grades.